Well, welcome back to the Fisherman, and this little tip is hopefully going to help you catch loads more perch this winter. Okay, so recently I've been doing loads of fishing with these little beauties, Reggies, crayfish lures, which are the very soft and spongy material. You'll have all seen it, it's called Flotex, but there's other brands on the market, Z-Man, stuff like that offer the same kind of lure. They're the floating lures that are super stretchy, super durable, and like I say, when you fish them on a cheb head or a weedless hook, they'll just pop up off the bottom like that, looking very appealing. Fantastic lures. And I think I said in another video that that is my #1 lure by an absolute mile. Catch loads of fish on it. That colour as well, real ale. Just a brilliant lure that I just can't get enough of. In fact, I've just bought a load more. They just turned up this morning. However, I must admit, I was missing a few bites the other week with them. And I couldn't really work out why. And I've done quite a lot of footage where you can tell when you've actually had a bite rather than just bumped into a snag or whatever. You can tell because oftentimes the Reggie comes back like scrunched up like that on the hook. It'll have gone round the bend of the hook. Let me demonstrate. So I've got a EWG hook here. That's one of the cheb heads. And basically to hook it, you go in and out the side like that. So the Reggie's on the thing. Then you pass it up here. It sits in that little recess. You then poke your hook through there and it sits in that weedless gap. So you've got this perfect weedless presentation like that. So when a fish comes along, down it goes, out the way, and you've got a hook there to catch the fish. No problem. But oftentimes what happens is, and it's happened to me so many times, you miss a bite and your crayfish comes back like that, where it slid down the shank of the hook. And oftentimes it masks the point of the hook. Lovely. And oftentimes it comes back like this, like all manner of shapes and sizes, like just not very good. So I got my thinking cap on and I thought, how can I stop this from happening? It's a simple scenario. It happens all the time, and I just thought it's one of them things with EWG style hooks where you just have that problem. It just slides down the shank. But when I actually got my thinking cap on, I realised that this little beauty, a dab of Superglue, could solve the problem, no problem. Because the last thing you want is when you think about it, when you're using an EWG or a weedless hook like that, there's a lot against you anyway. You've got to rely on that hooking the fish. You've got a nice firm hook set when you strike quite hard, and you've got to rely on the lure moving down to even hook the fish. So having that bunching down as well, masking the hook, it's just not good, is it? It's just one other thing that you've got to worry about. So I've set about thinking about how to solve it, and a quick dab of Superglue, would you believe it, has solved all my problems. So what I do, I just slide the crayfish down the shank, and then this little, don't know what you call it, it's like the start of the hook really. Just put a dab of glue on it. Don't need a lot, obviously, it's just a tiny little surface. Put that there, slide the Reggie into position. Obviously try not to get your fingers all glued up. Get that up there. There. Let that dry now. Obviously it'll take a little bit of time to dry. But now all of a sudden we've got a perfectly mounted Reggie that's super glued into position at this end. And that just means that now it can't possibly slide down the shank when I'm trying to set the hook. So all my force is now going into this bit rather than striking through the lure, which I think it makes a huge difference. And I've only just recently sussed this out, having thought a little bit why I was missing quite a lot of bites. And this little trick here, I think is just a brilliant one, and one that makes all the sense in the world. So there you go, nice little tip. Get some super glue. You should probably carry a bit of this around in your box anyway, because even stuff like squirms and TRDs, when you're setting them up on your little squirm heads, often they slip as well. So a little dab of this around the head, even with their keeper rings, they sometimes slip. The keeper spikes, a little dab of that behind the lure, push it up against the squirm head, works wonders as well. So never go fishing without that in tackle box or in your lure bag or whatever. Get yourself some of that. Try this little EWG trick for your cheb heads. It'll stop the crayfish or whatever lure you're using go down the shank, and hopefully you'll convert more bites and catch more fish as a result.